We got lights. But do we have notes? We will. Come on in here, everybody. We're almost ready for the best thing ever. Do 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 do. Rum pum pum pum. Bum 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 bum. Do 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 do. Bum bum. Rum bum bum. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the highlight of human civilization. Wow, do I have a show for you today. It's going to be amazing, better than usual even. I know, hard to believe. But if you'd like to take this experience up to levels that even starships can't travel to, all you need is a cuppa, mug, or a glass of target, a tankard, chalice, a stein, a canteen, jug or flask, a vessel of any kind. Fill it with your favorite liquid. I like coffee. And join me now for the unparalleled pleasure, the dopamine, the end of the day, the thing that makes everything better. It's called the simultaneous sip. And it's going to happen now. Go. SpaceX is successful again, I'm being told in the comments. Another perfect reentry, I hear. Nicely done, SpaceX. Well, if you're not reading the Dilbert comic by subscription only on the X platform, see the subscription button in my profile or on Locals, scottadams.locals.com. You would know that Dogbert's clone army is attacking the house. There will be bloodshed. That's all I can say about it for now. All right, today is D-Day. D-Day, so we're honoring the Normandy invasion vets, as we should. There seems to be some news from there. Let's see, how could we possibly show our best level of respect to the veterans and to the people of France, our allies? Well, it looks like Joe Biden is allegedly shit his pants in public and was led off by his wife during the ceremony. Now, the first part of that is only rumored. It just sort of looked like that's what happened. Because if you saw the video, Joe Biden sort of tried to sit down, but couldn't figure out if he should or how to sit down, or maybe he was bending over to take a crap in his pants. That's what people are saying online. I don't think that's true necessarily. To me, I thought he was trying to sniff an invisible child. Look at it again, and you tell me if he's not sniffing an invisible child. It looks like it to me. But one thing we can be happy about, and I think you can join me in this. This is one of those few times when I think we're all on the same page. I say to myself, thank God we don't have a President Trump over in France embarrassing the country. Am I right? Lucky, huh? Yeah. No, we sent our bag of bones over there to shit his pants and not make it through the entire ceremony. But it's a good day besides that. All right, here's one of those reasons that I think I'm living in a simulation. Last night, I said to myself, I think I want to eat a banana before I go to bed. And then I said to myself, I'd better check the science on this. Because somewhere I read that you shouldn't eat right before you go to bed because it would mess up your sleep. But I thought, I really want a banana. I really like bananas. Well, today I see a study eating banana before bed for possibly the best sleep ever because they're packed with nutrients that improve your health. And they got potassium and they got Magnesium, and oh my God, a banana will put you to sleep so fast. Now, what are the odds that I would literally be staring at a banana last night, wondering about the science of eating a banana before bed? Literally. And I wake up and, oh, Owen sends me a message, sends me a study about banana before bed. That was so specific. I don't think you could get more specific than that. Well, Disney has reached a new accomplishment, and a lot of people said, no, they'll never be able to do it. And when I see a company do something that, people like me said, no, they'll never be able to pull this off. But they did. So I'm going to give them a shout out. So Disney did something I never thought was possible. They're making a Star Wars movie that I'm not even slightly interested in fast forwarding past the romance parts so I can see the cool technology and the CGI. That's what I've been doing for a while. It's like, ugh, can I get past the woke bullshit? All right, lightsaber. Yeah, there. Whoa, look at that Sith go down. Rawr. But now they've made it so bad that I'm not willing to fast forward through the stupid parts to get to the cool space parts. Didn't think it was possible. They pulled it off. I don't know if I've told you this, but I love believing in things that aren't true if they are entertaining to me. And it doesn't make any difference. If it makes a difference, I don't want to believe things that are not true. But there are a lot of things that you can believe or not believe, and it really isn't going to make any difference at all. So here's one I choose to believe, not because it seems credible. I want to be careful here. I'm not saying it sounds credible to me, but I want to believe it. I guess it was a researcher on Joe Rogan's show who said that somewhere in some godforsaken part of the world in Pakistan, they found evidence of a nuclear explosion 1,700 years ago, and the buildings are turned to glass, and some of the people were still sitting on the steps of their homes and just like turned into glass or something. And apparently even scavengers didn't eat the bodies, and that they're radioactive. And that there was some ancient civilization who's been coming to Earth forever, and it was probably some advanced technology that they had that did something bad. The volcano? Well, the volcano doesn't have you still sitting on your front steps. Because remember, it's not covered in lava. So even if you say, well, it's not lava, but it's all the ash coming down, you wouldn't be sitting outdoors until the ash covered you up in the same position you were sitting. So whatever it was, it did happen quickly. That's what it looks like. People are just frozen in place. That doesn't say volcano. I don't know if any of that's true. I just think it's fun. That is the theme for today. All the news is funny. All right, I'm going to read you another piece of news, and watch how I don't even have to give you the punchline, and you're just like, oh, that's kind of funny, right? We'll test this. Senator Bob Menendez's son, you remember Senator Bob Menendez? He is currently under what would you say? He's under trial, being tried for massive corruption and taking gold bars and sewing them into his clothes. And but his son, Bob Menendez's son, just won the New Jersey House primary. Ooh, how do you compete with reality? Imagine if you're in Hollywood and you're trying to make up some good fiction, and the news is just pumping out the fiction like crazy, or actually in this case, real. But that's just naturally funny. That New Jersey, sort of our most famous corrupt state, don't have a problem with the son of the most corrupt person. No, well, he'll be fine. I mean, that's his father. It's not like we've ever seen any kind of, notable examples where the father and the son are coordinating on some kind of big political. Oh yeah, I guess we did see that, the Bidens. But let's not notice that it might be happening somewhere else. Let's just pretend this is okay. It's funny. Well, we are no longer a republic, but I and many other people are struggling to figure out what the hell we are. And there are three competing views. One is what I'll call the deep state view, that the deep state is the real government. The people behind the scenes, the deep state. The other view, which I hear in my comments every single day, is that there's a global Jewish conspiracy running the US government, if not the world itself. Now, here's the interesting part. If the deep state is who's in charge, then Biden will win. But if the other conspiracy theory, that it's a global Jewish cabal secretly controlling the country, then Trump will win. Because Trump is favored for handling the Gaza situation. So we're going to find out which one of the conspiracy theories is real. If Biden wins, there is not some kind of Jewish conspiracy controlling the country. If he doesn't win, maybe you go the other way. But I don't buy into either one of those theories. I have a theory of my own, that the country, it's not a republic, but it's not run by the deep state. It's not run by a Jewish conspiracy. I believe America is run by Alexander Soros's current lover. Literally. Here's how that works. Democrats have to do whatever the person with the money says they have to do, and Soros is their biggest funder. So that would put Soros in control, the younger, Alexander, because he's taken over. But as far as we can tell, Alexander Soros seems to be a moron with very little capability. And I would say he's either under the sway of his old boyfriend or his new alleged girlfriend, Huma Abedin. It looks to me like the Democrats, maybe the deep state, had to put in somebody to control him because he was sort of running the country, but he was running it into the ground. Because every single bad thing that's happening in the country is funded by this one fucking guy. Am I right? There's one fucking guy who's funding everything bad that's happening in the country, and he won't even do an interview. You know why? Because he can't. He's the Joe Biden of young people. I assume he's addicted to drugs because I just assume that about everybody rich at that age. I feel like I feel like he's just Joe Biden. I think Soros has a Hunter Biden problem. That's my guess. Now, I don't have facts. None of this is based on facts. It's just observation. And what else could it be? If you follow the money, it all goes to one person. And that one person doesn't have any indication that he's capable of handling that level of responsibility. But I think his boyfriend was. And I think maybe his current fake girlfriend is. So I think he's being manipulated from outside forces, but that's our government. It's not a deep state. It's not a Jewish conspiracy. It's not a republic. It's not a democracy. It's not a dictatorship. It's just this one fucking guy. That's it. How do we just keep ignoring that? It's one fucking guy. Well, you want some proof? Let's see. A Soros-backed DA is trying to overturn Governor Abbott in Texas, his pardon of Sergeant Daniel Perry. Now, Perry was ruled to have been acting in self-defense, but of course, because there was a black victim, a Soros-backed DA wants to reverse the pardon. Why? Why would he want to do that? It doesn't matter. It's just more that one fucking guy. It's just Soros. Right? They did it intentionally. It's right in front of you. Why are we acting like we're just ignoring that it's that one fucking guy and he's not capable? So we better figure out who's controlling him, because it's not him. There's a report that a bunch of people like McCabe, you remember him, people in the DOJ, the FBI folks, this is in Breitbart, by the way, Joel Pollack's talking about this on X, and people in the DOJ and the FBI are worried about being thrown in jail in a second Trump term. You're hearing a lot of words like revenge and reciprocation and getting even and all that. Don't use those words anymore. I would like to recommend the proper framing of this question. You ready? And this is going to be so good that I'm going to make you wait for a little pause before I drop it on you. Do not say that you're going to jail your opponents, even though they appear to be jailable. Do not say you're going to round them up in a RICO charge, because that sounds like you're targeting people and not crimes, right? You don't want to do that. You don't want to target people. You want to target crimes because you don't want to be like them. So don't say revenge. Don't say reciprocity. Don't say you're going to slap them all in jail. Here's what you say. Pause for effect. You say, no one is above the law. I'm pausing while you laugh. Oh, yeah. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to take, you are, I'm telling you what you're going to do. You're going to take the bullshit that they've been giving us for years. You're going to wrap it up in a tight little package, and you're going to shove it so far up their fucking asses that they can taste it. And you're going to do it with a smile. You're not going to do it out of hate. You're going to do it because it's funny. And it's going to get you to the same place. You're still going to get your making sure the justice system works the way it was intended, because nobody's above the law. Treat it the way it is. It's funny. You can do your business later. But for now, just enjoy the joke of it. Yeah, nobody's above the law. I don't see why McCabe would have to worry unless he broke a law. Do you know what Republicans really, really don't like? Weaponizing the legal system. Don't like it at all. So if nobody has broken the law, I personally would never be in favor of going after somebody without, actual legal justification. So I think we can say, and we can be quite honest about it, and we can enjoy the laugh. Nobody's above the law. All right, Hotep Jesus had a funny comment the other day. And this isn't exactly what he said, but it sort of reminded me of it, so I'm going to borrow it. And this will be my theme for the day. And it goes like this. What would happen if white people ever got mad? That's it. What would happen if white people got mad? Now, you could argue, well, the white single women have been mad for a long time. Yeah, but you know what? They were born mad. We just assume women are mad. American women? American women are just sort of naturally mad. So it doesn't seem like anything but the baseline to us. But what happened if the white men got mad? Because we've never really been close to that. And what I imagine is that people know what it looks like. No, you don't. You have no idea. The depth of what white men would be willing to do if they had to is pretty much bottomless. There's almost nothing. Yeah. If we really decide to do something, I say we, there's not much that's ever going to stop it. But it's the wanting to do it, the being on the same side. That's the hard part. And that part apparently has been solved by the worst behavior we've ever seen in America by one political party. Yeah, we'll get to that a little bit. So here we are. If you haven't watched the news, white men are really mad. Now, not alone. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene is, continuing to be awesome. So, there are plenty of white women who are mad, and there are always, liberal women who are mad to begin with. But let's have some fun, shall we? Shall we have some fun at their expense? I say yes. And now I begin with my fun at their expense. So Democrats, apparently in the Hill, there's an article that Democrats feel that Biden is he needs to relate more to the people on the question of inflation. And specifically, this is how the Democrats are putting it. They said he needs to feel more pain, or to show that he's sharing the pain. To which I say, finally, some good advice from Democrats. I also would like to see Biden in pain. Yeah, seriously, like lots of it. I think that's their best idea yet. Let's show Biden in all kinds of pain. That should get him across the finish line. So finally, we can agree that Biden should be in more pain. I wonder if the Biden campaign is suffering from having a DEI leadership. Does that sound like a DEI idea? You know, I think he needs to be more of a victim like us. Let's work on how much we hurt, and we can hurt him, and then he'll represent us by all of his pain. So how's the victim stuff working? If the Democrats had been right that you can do DEI without any cost, that it doesn't actually have a supply and demand imbalance, you just have to try a little harder, and you get the same quality employees, but you have to work a little harder to get past all the racism and stuff and find good people. Now, nobody who's lived in the real world thinks that could work, because we all know there's a supply and demand imbalance. And we all know that people will just go deeper and deeper into less competent people to meet their near-term diversity goals, because those are the ones that we put forward and we're watching the most closely. So if the Democrats were right, they would be running a terrific campaign no matter who was staffing it. If the Republicans are right that DEI is, by its design, the end of civilization, then you would see the worst political campaign you've ever seen, and you would see them suggesting that maybe Biden needs to look like he's in more pain. Because that's the dumbest fucking thing anybody ever thought. And at the same time, if you were hoping that you could make Biden look more sympathetic, maybe you shouldn't put your opponent in jail, because they just gave all of the sympathy to their opponent. If you're running a victim-based operating system, which is what Democrats are, oh, victim, victim, victim. Don't make a victim out of your biggest opponent. You just gave him all of your power. Do you remember the source of your power, Democrats? It's that you could make people think you're victims. You just gave all of your power to your opponent. Why? Because you're a bunch of dumb fucks with a DEI campaign full of incompetence. Not because of anybody's genes, not because of anybody's culture. It's just the system. It guarantees that you'll scoop up more incompetent people than you wanted. It guarantees it by design. And it has nothing to do with anybody's individual capabilities. So good instincts, Democrats. Yeah, why do I even need to watch Disney movies when I can watch the Democrats eat each other faster than the cannibals ate Biden's uncle. That's right. I feel like this is all just Biden's uncle playing that, because the Democrats are truly eating themselves. Yeah, that's there's a internecine. Is that the right? I've never used that word in public. I have no shame, so I'm gonna do it again. Internecine. Is that even close to a real word? Like sort of siblings against each other? Is that what that is? I don't know. Sounds like that's a word. But it's like a little civil war within the Democrats. All right. The empathizer in chief. All right. It's just winning. It's just all kinds of winning for the Republicans. And it's just getting funnier and funnier. All right. Here's the latest, funniest winning. The ex-Black Panthers Party leader, the leader, not just a member, ex Panther Party leader, he praised Donald Trump. Yes, this is really happening. Yep, 50 Cent is voting for Donald Trump. And the ex-Black Panther Party leader, voting for Donald Trump. Oh, and we're not done. There's more to come. And here's what he says. David Hilliard, former leader of the Black Panthers, he praised Trump in a viral video. His grandson says he was misrepresented, but here's what he did say. He said that Trump, a presumptive Republican nominee, is a decent man and, quote, a friend to African Americans. And he said he knew Trump when he was a college student in New York City. He said Trump is a person who's a decent man, and he supported the Black Panther Party. He was someone who gave us money. Now, who knows what's true? But does it matter? That's just funny. That's just funny. To watch the Democrats just completely, the wheels have completely come off. We all see it now. All right. So that's funny. Here's another little factoid. Nvidia, the company that makes the boards and the chips for AI, their current value is over $3 trillion, and they just eased down Apple as the second biggest company. Microsoft is still the biggest, a little bit bigger. So here are the biggest 5 companies. You got Microsoft, Nvidia, Apple, Google, and Amazon. Each of them is well over $1 trillion in value. The smallest one is 1.9. That's Amazon. Now, if you were to add up the value of the 5 biggest companies in the world, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 11, 12, 13, about $13 trillion is the value of the the 5 biggest companies. If we sold them all off to pay down the debt, you'd get about 1/3 of it. That's 1/3 of the current debt if we sold off all 5 of the biggest companies in the world. Just keep that in mind. All right. Meanwhile, the X platform and Elon Musk has apparently worn down the Australian E-Safety Commission, and the E-Karen there has abandoned her legal fight with Elon Musk. So X continues to be the only place that free speech thrives, the only place that anybody's fighting for it, it seems like, and he's winning. And I would say that everything positive happening in the country is because of Elon Musk. Let me say it again. Everything positive in the country is because of Elon Musk. If he hadn't saved X, we wouldn't have one place where people can figure out what's true. And boy, have they figured out what's true. Wow, have they figured out what's true. We're going to get to that in a minute. All right. So a report, I don't know how old this is. This might have been a while ago. But Scott Galloway was on Real Time with Bill Maher. And he said that part of the reason there are protests on the campuses, for the Hamas stuff especially, is that the students need to have more sex, and that there's a big sex drop-off of young people just not having sex. And here's my take on that. The reason they're not having sex is not immediately fixable, because the reason they're not having it is that they're not attractive to each other. Do you know what men are not attracted to? Women protesting. I've never once in my life saw a woman in a protest, yelling and protesting. And it doesn't even matter even if I agreed with it. I'm talking about even protests I agree with. And I say to myself, well, there's a complainer. Even if the complaint is justified. I'm not even commenting on the content of the protest. But if I see a protester, I think, that looks like trouble. A little too active there. A little bit too active in the complaining. I think that's going to bite me in the ass. And then what about the men who are going along with the women who are organizing all the protests? Do you think the women have a lot of respect for the men who are followers? No. No, not at all. And then you add the fact that everybody's getting fat and we all have different preferences, and you'd never sleep with a conservative if you're liberal. And we've rendered the country completely unfuckable. So you need to change that. And it probably needs to change with women more than men. Well, maybe not. Maybe it needs to change in both sides about equally. Let me back up on that and say that's probably just looking at it from my perspective. But maybe we need to figure out how to be more attractive to each other. Maybe a little of that. So why do men have a low sex drive and low sperm? Well, I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. 20 years ago, if I went to the shopping mall and walked down the middle of the mall, I probably couldn't leave without a hard-on. You didn't want to hear that. But the fact is, you would just walk in public and there would be insanely attractive people, not often, 1 in 20 or something, but you would see beautiful people and you would be fully erect by the time you left any public area if you're young and male. That doesn't happen anymore. You can stand in public for hours and never see an attractive person. I don't know where they are. I don't know if they ate too much or stopped taking care of themselves. I don't know. Maybe it has to do with, I don't know. I have no idea what it is. But you don't see them. I don't see them in public. Don't really see them anywhere. Anyway, here's the other hilarious thing, that Biden is really brilliant behind closed doors. So a lot of Democrats are coming forward and saying, granted, he does look like he's completely gone in public. Well, they don't say that, but they say, but behind closed doors, I just spent some time with him and he's sharp. He's so on the ball. So believe it or not, it's hard to pick one of the funniest top 25 hoaxes. What is that? It's funny to pick one of the top 25 Democrat hoaxes, but I'm going to nominate this for the funniest of the hoaxes. Biden is brilliant when we're not watching. Now, come on. That's funny. That is just plain funny. Yeah. And you know what I think we should do is when he's giving public speeches, because we know he's incompetent in public, they should build a little structure around him on the podium. And the door would be open when he starts, because, just to make sure it's really him. And he'd say, oh, folks, and then you see he's a real person. And then they would sort of gently put him like back into the structure, and they'd close the door, and then they keep the microphone in there, wireless, of course, microphone, and then brilliance would come out. Because we've learned that when he's behind the closed door, that's when all the genius comes out. And I think we can work with this. We just have him meet with world leaders, and he'll shake hands, shit his pants, whatever he does, and he'll mumble a little bit, and then they'll bring in the portable. It's like a skiff for a president. It's just like a little room. It's portable, and they'll put him in the little room, and they'll say, "Could you say that again to President Macron?" "Oh yes, President Macron, we are your best allies, and we're going to fight with you for Ukraine." Very good, very cogent, brilliant, really, in fact. So yes, I think we can solve this with a little tiny house. MSNBC had a focus group. I don't know if you call it that, but they interviewed 3 black voters, and I don't think they were expecting this. All 3 were pro-Trump. Didn't this happen before? MSNBC keeps trying to find a black person who doesn't like Trump, and they failed twice in a row. They can't even find a black person who's not going to vote for Trump. It's their entire job is to insult Trump and say that he's going to be bad for black people. They can't find one. They're still looking for the black person who can't get an ID to vote. Anyway, so but one of the people on the panel had a framing that I liked a lot. Remember how the Democrats say, "How are you Republicans saying that he's going to get the black vote because he went to jail?" Oh, you frickin' racists. You think that black people are going to relate to him because he went to jail? Because you think black people relate to jail. And so therefore they're going to relate to Trump? What kind of flaming racist would even have that idea, you stupid, stupid Republicans? And one of the black people said, yeah, we relate to him because he's being persecuted by the system of American justice, and we can relate to that. That's the key word, persecuted. Here's the wrong way to say it. Trump went to jail, so he'll be popular with black people. No. No. That's just walking right into their narrative. And by the way, it's not exactly what anybody's thinking. Here's exactly what I'm thinking, as put into perfect words by a black woman on MSNBC's panel, quote, persecuted by the system of American justice. That is exactly what I feel. I feel like he is persecuted by the system of American justice. What do I feel personally? Do you know what I feel personally? Really in danger, because the same system could go after me, and it shows signs that it will, because it's hunting Republicans like crazy at the moment. And, you could say, well, they already wounded you by canceling you, so you don't have to worry about them coming back for a second bite. To which I say, I don't think you met these people. Yeah, they're coming back for a second bite if they can. If they could get away with it, of course they would. So yes, persecuted by the system of American justice. But I don't think we need revenge. I just say nobody's above the law. They dragged down to Chris Matthews on some kind of a stretcher or something. I didn't even know he's still alive. But Chris Matthews on MSNBC, and he said, quote, I'm telling you that Trump could end up rolling the score. I've got the Congress. I've got the Supreme Court. I own it all. I am a dictator. And then he finished with the punchline. Are you ready for the punchline? It's very reasonable to assume that's where he's headed. No, Chris Matthews, you crazy batshit bastard. That's not even a little bit. That's not even a little bit reasonable. Not even slightly. It's like they've never met a Republican. Republicans are real serious about the Constitution. It's their defining quality. So you can imagine the Democrats wanting to bend the rules and do God knows what. It's because they don't have the same feeling about the Constitution. If your main operating system is the Constitution is what we need to pay attention to, you don't end up with any of this. You might end up with Republican policies, which the country is practically begging for at this point. But no. How many of you would support Trump being a dictator? Zero. Of course it's zero. And there's no mechanism by which he could form a private army or something. It's crazy. All right, here's the batshit crazy women update. I think this was in The Guardian or some British publication. Some woman named Zoe Williams had an opinion article. Says, getting fit is great, but it could turn you into a right-wing jerk. And she says, the more self-actualized you become, the higher you are on self-righteousness, blaming other people's problems on their failure to be as healthy as you. So let me see if I understand the point here from Zoe, who, by the way, is a deeply unattractive woman if we can judge by her photo. She's saying that if you learn to control your own outcomes, let's say by going to the gym and getting fit, if you're a person who has learned that you can control your own fate by your actions, that might turn you into a person who believes that other people can control their fates by their actions. That does sound dangerous, doesn't it? Totally dangerous. Wow. MSNBC's Katie Tur had some little panel on there, and she was complaining that people are not believing the corporate news anymore. She didn't use corporate news as a phrase, but she was talking to the news. She said that people are getting their information on social media, and so they're not believing the news anymore. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? I wonder why people wouldn't believe the news. I'm going to get to that. But it looks like Elon Musk broke their business model. The business model of MSNBC and CNN and most of the news, and this is not an exaggeration, their business model is telling you things that are not true. Unfortunately, is that an exaggeration? Their business model depends on telling you things that are not true. That's the design of the system. And so X gave people a place to find out what's true. Stop laughing. Stop laughing. And what I mean by X gives you a place to know what's true, I do not mean that everything on X is true. I do not mean it doesn't have massive disinformation all over it. Here's what it does have. It has both sides. You can actually find both sides. We can't see that on MSNBC. Can't see that. Well, you can start to see it on CNN. Actually, they're definitely pivoting toward the middle this year. But yeah, as soon as you could see both sides, it didn't matter how much bullshit there was also, because you could just see the debunk. And that should completely break their business model. Because once you realize that their business model depends on lying, because that's how you get the clicks and it's how you get access to the government. Let me explain that more. If the corporate media did not lie, they wouldn't be able to get interviews with the current government. That's a fact. Everybody understands it. It's not something I just invented today. Everybody knows that. If you don't carry their water, at least some of the time, you don't get access. It's the reason that Fox News doesn't have as much access to any Democrats. They won't go on the network because they don't have to. They'll just go on the other networks. Yeah. So the business model is built on lying for the benefit of the people in power, so that you have access, so you can do your job. Also, on top of that, things which are the most ridiculously untrue get all the clicks. So the only way you can get access is by lying for the benefit of the people you want access to, and the only way you can get money is by lying, because that's what gets the clicks. Whereas X has found a different model, which is they can make money by traffic, and they're getting their traffic by letting everybody say what they want to say. So in theory, their business model should continue to decline because it's unfixable. They have an unfixable model. There's no way to fix that. You just die. The solution is dying, or having billionaires prop you up like the Washington Post. There's some thought that Trump is going to lose his license to carry a gun in New York. There's some thought that Hunter Biden will not lose his... I need a fact check on this. If Hunter Biden somehow doesn't get convicted, and in theory he's off drugs now, could he keep his gun? Or keep a gun if he wanted a gun? I don't think he has one. Could we actually see Trump lose his gun rights and Hunter Biden not? That's a possibility, right? Now that's funny too. I mean, because Trump doesn't really need gun rights. He's surrounded by people with guns. So the last thing you want is for Trump to have access to a gun, or anybody else. It's just, there's nothing good that could come from it. All right. So let's talk about the Hunter laptop and all the other stuff. So here are all the things that happened this week. Everything is pro-Republican. Everything is pro-Trump this week. It's a crazy, crazy good week. If you're interested in seeing things work in the right direction, wow, are they working in the right direction, including Trump's conviction. I mean, that's very much working in the right direction accidentally. So the FBI has said in court that the Hunter laptop was real after the entire media told you endlessly that it was not. So that basically uncovered the evil of the entity. But here's the funny part. Bill Ackman, famous billionaire, who's far more involved in politics this cycle than prior cycles. So he was a Democrat historically, but he's quite pointedly turned on them for a number of reasons, and thinking that Trump might be a better choice. But he's not quite up to speed. Now, I say this with affection and with respect, because Bill Ackman is an adult in the room, and I think he's really adding to the body, politic and to the country. But it takes a while to get the whole picture. It took me a while. Here's what I think he's missing. He commented on how the press had ignored the Hunter laptop story, actually lied about it, even if they knew. They probably knew, probably lied. And he's saying that we won't learn from our mistakes without the people responsible acknowledging their culpability. And that is just yet to happen. Does he think that that's a possibility? That the people involved with this will admit their culpability? Because that's something I would never say out loud. Like, I say almost anything in public, I would never say that. And the reason is, it seems a little bit just short of where reality is. Let me give you reality. This wasn't a mistake. People apologize for mistakes. That wasn't a mistake. They did it intentionally. It's part of a large body of work, which they also do intentionally, and for which they don't apologize. And the reason they don't apologize is because who would apologize for stopping Hitler or trying to? That's not an apology situation. So the thing that Bill hasn't quite wrapped his head around is that they think they're in a different movie in which everything's on the table because they're trying to stop Hitler. Why would you apologize for trying to stop Hitler and it didn't work? You should have a pat on the back for that. You should get an award because you tried. So Bill hasn't quite, it looks like, just based on the public statements, he may have different thoughts internally. But why would you even ask for them to admit their culpability unless you thought that was a possibility, that there was just a mistake, and that honest people will admit their mistakes? There are no honest people. The media is, by design, only the dishonest people. At least the so-called corporate media. It's all dishonest people. And they're doing it intentionally and universally and every single day. And they know exactly what they're doing. Why would anybody apologize for what they choose to do every day they wake up? Don't believe it? Allow me to give you the score for how the Democrats are doing lately. You ready for this? This is called the climax. This week, we learned that Fauci lied about the lab leak. He lied about the gain of function. He lied about science. He lied about the distancing. He lied about the masks. He lied about the shots. He lied about the closures. Everything we know about the Ukraine war is completely made up. Seems to be an energy play, has nothing to do with NATO or protecting the country or Putin is bad. We know that Biden is certainly not fucking cogent in private. Come on. Even the Democrats know that's a lie. Why don't they apologize for saying that Biden is perfectly fine in private? They're not going to apologize because it's intentional. Every one of them wakes up and says it every day intentionally because they're trying to stop Hitler. Why would they ever apologize for that? Here are some things we know. The E. Jean Carroll lawsuit against Trump only existed because New York made up a law that canceled the statute of limitations just to get Trump. We know that Bragg had to use a novel prosecution idea, in other words, made up a law in order to stop Trump, and we can all see it. We know the Russia collusion hoax was the operating system of the Biden campaign from top to bottom. We know that the laptop was hoax, as I said. Most of us have figured out that the January 6th insurrection was a hoax because Republicans don't do insurrections and don't take out their guns, right? That was all a hoax. We also know that the entire committee, the January 6th committee, was corrupt and that they, here's one example. Remember the claim about Trump choking the Secret Service guy in the Beast, the car that the president rides in? And Apparently, the Secret Service agent wanted to testify that it didn't happen, and he wasn't allowed to testify for the January 6th. No, we're not guessing whether they're a bunch of fucking crooks. We're not guessing. It's right there. Every bit of it is now public information. The January 6th committee, thoroughly corrupt. Do I think that we should get revenge on them? No. Do I think we should do reciprocity? No. I just think nobody's above the law. So I'd take that into account. How about the George Floyd hoax? How about putting General Flynn in fucking prison? How about the election security hoax, where they tell us the election is fine, and then they backed off to, well, okay, sure, there are gigantic holes, and we can't really audit any of this fucking thing. But believe us, trust us. Yeah, we trust you. Because after the Russia collusion fucking hoax, the laptop fucking hoax, the fucking pandemic, the January 6th fucking hoax, the George Floyd fucking hoax, and putting General Flynn in fucking jail, Peter Navarro is still in jail. And you think we're going to believe that your fucking election was good? Sorry. Now, do I have any proof that the election in 2020 was rigged? Nope. Do I need it? No. Not anymore. There was a time when I said, you're going to have to prove that. Nope. No, you don't have to prove it anymore. Every fucking part of the Democrat machine is a hoax. Do you believe that the election, the most important thing, is the one thing they're going to play straight? There isn't a fucking chance. There's no chance that it was straight. None. Not in the real world. Not in the real fucking world. In the real fucking world, there are, 30 to 50 fucking hoaxes that your news tried to tell you was real, and the same fucking people running the election, and you think that they played that straight. No chance. No chance. How about the Mar-a-Lago Boxgate bullshit? How about that inflation is under control? No problem about it. How about the border is sealed? No, it's not. It's a big problem. Wait, there's nothing I can do about it because there's nothing I can do as president. Oh, yes, there is. Wait, no, that's a fucking trick too. It looks like I closed it, but I did nothing. How about those climate change models? How about Tesla just got a low ESG score and Philip Morris got a high one? ESG is a fucking hoax. DEI is a fucking stupid idea by stupid people. Our government is run by Alex Soros's boyfriend and or girlfriend this week. Fonnie Willis case is being delayed. Jack Smith case delayed. So you're going to have to run for office, you fucking assholes, on your one obvious lawfare case that even your own fucking experts say is bullshit. And that's what you get to run on. So good luck in November, assholes. You brought it on yourself. Meanwhile, Attorney General Garland got grilled by Matt Gaetz and others, and certainly if you watched that, you thought he's crooked by the time you were done. Fauci got roughed up, as I mentioned. But what's Trump doing? Trump does an interview with Hannity, says that fentanyl and other big drug dealers kill as many as 500 people per dealer. If you're one of the big ones, he says they should be put to death. That's actually a policy change that would work, and I find it a very good idea. That's actually real. That's like a real thing. And by the way, Trump is pretty much admitting that he failed. Am I right? He failed. Now, he doesn't say those words, but he's basically saying, I tried, didn't work. Now he's got a new idea that's more aggressive. That's what you fucking do. You try something, and when it doesn't work, you say, that didn't work. Let me try something more aggressive. That's how you actually do everything that works. You got to listen to a Republican if you want to even figure out how to do anything. All right. Some people say that Biden's biggest election risk is that he's not right with the Gaza Israeli Palestinian situation, and that he's doing a terrible job on managing our relations with Israel. I'm waiting for somebody to tell me that it only looks like a terrible fucking job in public, but really, when he's behind closed doors, he's a fucking genius. He's got it all figured out behind the closed door there. And Biden just authorized cross-border attacks on Russia because he hadn't yet figured out the dumbest fucking thing you could ever do. And he thought, oh, how about that? How about that? Now, do you remember I told you I've never seen white people this angry? Good luck. Good luck. Because, I've heard people say you've awakened a sleeping giant and, you poked the bear too much. There's a thing I've been telling you about Republicans for a very long time. They're flexible. They're flexible. Republicans are quite flexible until they're not. And if you forget the until they're not part, you got a big surprise coming. And we have reached until you're not. What I see is a level of energy and fight in the Republicans that I've never seen before. The America First legal thing, Stephen Miller's brilliant brainchild, is just rolling up these fucking criminals that are basically had gone unchallenged forever. All the lawsuits against the racists, etc. That's great. Congress finally found their balls, and they're calling people in just to scream at them in public, which I love, even if it doesn't change anything. You give me every day, I want to see Marjorie Taylor Greene yelling in the face of somebody who made America worse. I'll watch that every day. Every day. Give me more. All right. God. I thought I could go one day without a Jewish worldwide conspiracy person in the comments, but we didn't make it. We didn't make it. Got it. I got it. All right. What else we got going on today? I think that covers the big stuff. And I'm going to go talk to the locals people privately. There may be more swearing. I don't know. Sometimes I can't hold it in. And man, allergies. All right, everybody on X and YouTube and Rumble. I will see you tomorrow, same place, and I'm going to go talk privately to the subscribers on Locals. Thanks for joining. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye for now. But I'm stalling a little bit because I hear there's a little bit of a delay. We're now in the stalling just to make sure that the Rumble studio catches up to all of you, because I don't like to rudely turn it off. But it will go off somewhere in the middle of me talking because I don't have control of when it stops.